Hey guys, Spin here. Got a little war paint on my face. I was doing some gunsmithing earlier. What a project. I just got done working on a Browning BLR. Don't ever work on one if you don't have to. Pay someone else to do it. Wasn't too bad, I guess. I got lucky on the timing gig, but today I wanted to talk to you guys about everyday carry, specifically the Zippo. This is one of my everyday carry Zippos. The other one I was going to put on the channel, but I set it down earlier and I can't exactly remember where it is. It's in a safe place, so safe that I couldn't remember where it was. But this is my other everyday carry Zippo. I have a bunch more other Zippos just for like display, but these are my everyday carries. This one and just a normal silver Zippo, stainless, whatever. So before I get into this, a word from our sponsor.
Yeah, I'm still learning all this stuff. I'm not too familiar with it though.
Good, good.
It's good. Thank you.
G3 Firearms. I mean, we carry everything, mostly. And if we don't carry it, we can probably order it for you. So come check us out. Turner, Maine, if you're from Maine. If not, the website's almost up and going. It's getting there, guys, I promise. So you'll be able to order off the website, which is going to be awesome. Of course, it's going to be awesome. I'm part of it. So anyway, getting down to it. So EDC. There's a few things that I EDC. One of them is a Zippo. I like to carry a Zippo on me because it's refillable. It's like a little lantern, honestly. So let's get into it. Once you pull your insert out, I always carry a spare flint with me, a necessity. Some people use Zippo fluid, some people use Roncinol. Just an FYI, Zippo bought out Roncinol in 2010 because they'd always kind of been a competitor with Zippo. So Zippo thought it was best to buy them out. Great idea, honestly. Buy out the competitor. So anyway, on the bottom here, when you first get a Zippo, your wick's going to be in a straight line. Some people prefer it that way. I do what Zippo says. It comes with a little manual, and so when you take your spring screw out here, it's for your flint. When you take this spring out, your flint's gonna fall out, and I'll show you all that anyway. You pull this bottom plate off. It's not gonna have a spare flint in it. That's something you're gonna have to put in on your own. And then you're gonna see your wick and all your rice cotton. So what you do is you take your wick and you just kind of pack your cotton in and zigzag your wick up through there. It shows you how in the manual. I'm not going to teach you how to do that because it's not part of the routine. So to get this bottom screw out, technically you can just lift this to fill it, but I like to actually take it out. Don't ever use your lid to try to unscrew this. Your lid sits on a small hinge and it's very flimsy. So you take your base onto your screw and you unscrew it. First time you do it, it's going to be tight. I would suggest doing it with doing it with a screwdriver, but when you tighten it, you don't have to crank it down. You just snug it. Technically, you're supposed to be able to use an American penny. I like to use just the base of the Zippo, unless it's a really nice Zippo and I don't want to mess it up. But this is everyday carry. So there's your flint. Yeah. Okay. So now we pop this bottom base plate out. Which sometimes it's trickier than it looks. There we go. Got it. And you got your arsenal. So this is how I do mine. You just kind of square it in there. Get it in as much of the cotton as you can. Usually count. You can see it kind of getting wet. Give it a break. Let it soak in for a minute. You don't want it to the point where it's dripping out. You just want it to where when you put the wick against your finger, you get a little damp spot. Or if you put it against a towel or the table, you can see a little wet spot. This one's actually kind of dry. I haven't filled it in a few days. So that's the thing about Zippos. The more you keep up with on filling them, the better it's going to run. What this is just a mini lantern. Your lantern fuel, your wick, your spark, and you got fire. You even got a chimney. So that's all this is. Yeah, you don't want to fill it to the point where this is sobbed with fluid. Like when it puddles, you'll have way too much. I'll also teach you a trick with the wick here in a second, once I got this filled up. Like I said, this one's a little dry, so it's going to take a little bit more. Yeah, it should be plenty. When you touch the wick, you'll see like a little bit of fluid get on your finger. That's how you want it. When you have too much, you'll see the flame kind of pop. That's when you know you have too much. So you put your pad back in, drop your flint in, right down the hole, then with your flint spring. So what I do is get it with my fingers. Watch out, this is kind of sharp, by the way. I've been cut on these a few times. Take the base of your Zippo case, not the lid. Just snug it down. There it is. What I always, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll either put it in the case and I'll flip it upside down, or I'll pop my cam forward, slide it in the Zippo so it's sitting like this, and just let it sit. Let it sit there for a little bit. Let the fluid kind of soak into the wick. Safely put your fluid away, because when you test your Zippo out to make sure it lights, you don't want that in the way. This is just everyday maintenance. As far as like changing your wick and everything, it's very rare that you should have to mess with your wick. Make sure you put it in the right way. Close it for a minute. And we got fire. Alright, so your wick should always be to the tippy top of your chimney or just under. The closer you have it to your flint, the higher your flame will be. Or sorry, your flint wheel or your striker wheel, whatever. The closer it is to it, the higher your flame will be. I like to keep mine more in the middle, so it doesn't burn as much fuel, but I still get a good flame out of it. I guess, huh? Also, if your wick is spurred at the end, so like fluffy, you're gonna get a little bit of a better flame out of it too. I just filled it, so it's gonna burn higher anyway. But that's pretty much that. When you do have to snip your wick, it's pretty easy. You just pull it out with a pair of needle nose, take a pair of fingernail clippers, and kind of snip it. But it's not very seldom that you have to snip a Zippo wick, let alone change one out. Yeah, it's not that common. Like, some people are more anal about it than I am. You know, if it takes forever to light it and it's just not running good, then I'll either change the wick out or I'll snip it down. But that's pretty much it. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I don't. Another thing that helps, obviously, is filling it up religiously. Because if you fill it up once, let it dry out for a couple months, and then you fill it up again, the fluid really doesn't sit into that wick, and it just fills up, dries out. You know, I've noticed that if I have to use one of my other Zippos for whatever reason, it runs alright because I fill it up, but it definitely doesn't run like my everyday carry Zippos, which kind of missing my other one. I gotta find that safe spot I put it in. But yeah, it doesn't run like my others do, or my everyday carries do. Sorry. These ones run, you know, I can go a couple days without filling these, and they don't run great, but they still run enough to do what I need to do if I have to do it. So always, yeah, a lighter is definitely an important thing to have on you for an everyday carry, rather it's a Bic lighter or Zippo. I prefer Zippo personally, just because there's so many uses you can get out of it. But even just a Bic lighter, you know, whatever will start a fire if you need it to keep you warm. So anyway, Huntsman 32. We'll catch you in the next video.